Okay, class, we're going to talk a little bit about bile. We've talked about it before, so let's just kind of say a few comments on it. Okay, yellow-green alkaline solution containing bile salts, bilirubin, far from heme, we talk cholesterol, neutral fats, and so forth. Now, over here, remember, bile is made in the liver, stored in the gallbladder. Made in the liver, stored in the gallbladder. We already said that it's made in the liver cells, trickles down into the bile duct here. These bile is coming down these bile canaliculi. Coming down these bile canaliculi, going into the bile duct. And then all these bile ducts come together. There it is. All these bile ducts come together to form the right and left hepatic ducts, and that's how you get it. Okay, bile. Now, I brought up bile before. I'm going to go to another PowerPoint, and that PowerPoint is my serum lipid transport, which you would have seen. Okay, so right here is the composition of bile. Water. In bile, we have, what do we have? We have water. Now, the bile in the gallbladder has had a lot of water removed, so you can store it. It's more concentrated. But you have unesterized cholesterol, bile pigments. That was the bilirubin. Bile. Now, these in red are actually what helps with the emulsification. Remember, the purpose is formed in liver, stored. Its function is salt, emulsify fats in the small intestine. Because you can't get under the water layer. Remember, there's water on top of here. What the bile does is to form this micelle. Micelle, not but involved in exogenous lipid metabolism, which means eating it in the diet. Need to get lipids in the intestine underneath the water layer so these lipids can get to the top of the intestinal epithelial cells for absorption. Thus, you need to make a micelle. The bile helps make this micelle. Then this micelle can come down on the top of the intestinal epithelial cell and go through. That's the purpose of bile. That's the purpose of bile. Okay, we'll go further. Now, in that PowerPoint, here's my complete story. Eat meal with cholesterol, eat meal with lipids, let's say. Triglycerides are broken down. Okay. In order to absorb lipids, need bile to emulsify the lipids so as to allow them to pass below the water layer line intestinal. Bile enters the first part of the intestines. We talked about that from the hepatopancreatic duct. Okay. Bile mixes with the lipids, forming the micelle. The micelle allows the fat to move to the top of the intestinal epithelial cell. Okay. So here's a picture of that coming down. Okay, that coming down. The lipids allowed into the intestinal epithelial cells by simple diffusion, particularly at the ileum. The bile forming the micelle will stay behind, and some will be absorbed later in the small intestine and large. That's what we call the enterohepatic circulation. So you can keep reabsorbing some of the bile. Now, some of the bile keeps going. Remember, in the large intestine, normal flora convert some of the primary acids to secondary. Okay? So that's what bile does. Okay, now I'm going to come back here. So we've looked at what the composition and what it does. And we're saying then that enterohepatic circulation recirculate some of the bile. So the bile that's recirculated, see, would end up being absorbed in the small intestine and large intestine, latter part of the large, and then go into the portal vein, because see, what comes from there goes to the portal vein, then comes back to the liver, and so the liver doesn't have to always make new bile. Some bile is old bile, what? That got recirculated. Some bile is old bile that got recirculated. Used again. Okay. The gallbladder is a thin wall muscular sac. Muscular sac on the ventral stores and concentrates. Releases through the cystic duct. Now what happens is when When lipids get in here, a hormone is produced by the enterogastrin cells, those cells that produce hormones, called CCK. CCK, cholecystokinin, causes the gallbladder to contract. So when fat gets into the small intestine, those cells recognize that fat is there and causes the gallbladder to contract to release the bile. All right, so that's what happens. Now let's talk about a little pathology here real quick since we got a few minutes. So hopefully you understand the normal, the regular physiology. We need the bile to emulsify the fat. The bile causes micelles to be formed. The micelles then can be absorbed, get underneath the water layer to be absorbed, and there we are. Okay. Then the fat goes into the central lactea. Remember, all fat soluble is going to go to the lymphatics. So let's just look at a couple of more things there. All right. Here I want you to show you gall stones. Now we look at a little path. These are gall stones that can form due to many reasons. Too much cholesterol, too little water, all kind of different reasons. Some people just are prone to them. Now, see right here's here's gallstones, and sometimes those gallstones can get trapped and block the cystic duct, or they could get trapped and block the common bile duct. Okay, or they could come in and go into the pancreas, called Ogilvie syndrome, and give you pancreatitis. See, it depends on how many and what's the size. So they could block anywhere. It doesn't have to just be at the cystic duct. It could be further down depending. Okay? So if a person is prone to them and you can't get rid of them, then you could do a cholecystectomy. The old way of doing it was an open operation where you'd have to cut into the patient more. Now they can do it under the laparoscope. And what you do under the laparoscope is you just come in and you put different probes in, but one of them inserts CO2, CO carbon dioxide, and blows up the abdomen. I've done many of these, but not for gallstones, but for doing laparoscopies for females as a gynecologist to look around at the ovaries and so forth. But anyway, it's the same technique. And so then they can come in and take it out rather than doing the open operations. You're in the hospital a lot longer than you do when you can go through these laparoscopes. Okay, so anyway, that just gives you an idea of bile and its function and some problems with it and so forth. All right, so hopefully you kind of have an understanding. You can read on it too. My videos are just to assist in some way. All right, thank you.